You know when you are really struggling for ideas for what to feed yourself or other people in the house? We often go in the Hudson family to macaroni cheese. It is a staple in our house. It is hot, it's tasty, it's filling, it's relatively easy to make, and it is gloriously cheesy. But looking at these two macaroni cheeses, which on the outside look absolutely identical, at first sight they look very, very similar. But internally, they're very, very different. You might remember playing that game of Spot the Difference as a child, presented with a picture and trying to find 3 or 4 or 5 differences between the images. And sometimes they were really easy to spot, and sometimes it was much more difficult. When we work with people and involved in our communities, if we don't know them well, it makes those differences really, really difficult to spot. It makes it that much more difficult for us to understand what's really going on for them. The way we think affects the way we feel, and that affects the way we behave. So in the workplace, it's much more likely that we're going to notice those changing behaviours on the outside. Or maybe it's how someone presents themselves in the workplace, or the standard or the efficiencies of their work that they're doing. That is usually a change that happens for them, is usually a manifestation of something else that's going on, something else that's potentially going on in their life. Maybe they're just having a bit of a rough patch. But the way we think affects the way we feel, and that affects the way we behave. So how does it apply to the macaroni cheese? Well, whilst these two macaroni cheeses might look absolutely identical from the outside, on the inside they are dramatically different. Dramatically different. One of them is completely gluten-free. My daughter, fiercely independent, has celiac disease. It means she is on a strict gluten-free diet for the entirety and longevity of her life. And it means that any contamination of gluten in her food makes her really, really unwell. So if she was to get a spoonful of the wrong one, we'd probably have quite an unwell daughter this evening. So it's really important that we know what's going on the inside. And whilst these macaroni cheeses look massively, massively similar on the outside, internally there's something very, very different going on. And unless we know, and unless we have these connections with the people that we surround ourselves, we're never going to be able to spot the difference.